All right. Hi and welcome to our next community meeting about the Keptn project. In today's meeting, we have an agenda that looks as follows. Thanks, I forgot to share my screen, but now you should see it. First of all, we want to talk a little bit about the Keptn 0.6.0 beta release. It has been released last Friday, and we want to just touch a little bit on what you can expect, how to use it, and what you can receive or will receive in the next couple of days from the team. After that, we're going to discuss 3 pull requests that are currently open for the Keptn spec. And yeah, when we are there, we will talk about those changes and we'll ask the community for additional feedback.
So the Keptn did a new release, new major release. Johannes, can you give me a quick overview of what this release contains?
Sure. First of all, this new release is heavily focused on one core capability of Keptn itself. It's the Keptn Quality Gate. This is also the reason why we named this release the Keptn Quality Gate release. And you will find, of course, the docs on the keptn.sh website. Yeah, here you will see a new section. It's the release 0.6.x.beta section. And there you will find all the changes and commands that you now can use for installing Keptn Quality Gates standalone. And for getting started, I recommend to go to Keptn and then to the release section, because there you can find a summary of all the changes we made, and also a short summary of the focus of this release itself. As I said, it's all about Keptn Quality Gates. This means that you can now use this feature as a standalone feature within your continuous integration or continuous delivery pipelines. And this gives flexibility to, this allows you to enrich your CD pipelines with the concept of quality gates. And for configuring this quality gate, you have to come up with a service level objective file and service level indicators. But we will support, or we will help you with that, because a specification of a SLO and SLI is available in the Keptn spec repository. One very important note to mention is that the very famous pedometer service has been exchanged by another service. It's called the Lighthouse service now. And this Lighthouse service is taking over the responsibility of fetching data from an external provider and service level indicator provider. Then it takes this data, does the test or the evaluation, and then returns the evaluation result to the recipient.
Okay, this is really cool, because now Keptn becomes a tool for site reliability engineers.
Right.
So you can really define your service level objectives, which are afterwards automatically checked by the Lighthouse service. And one really nice thing I especially like from the Lighthouse service is that before, the pedometer was tightly coupled to the SLI provider, to, for example, Dynatrace, Prometheus. And now in this release, we decoupled this. And so we do not have to recompile the Lighthouse service, for example, when we add another data source provider, for example, Datadog or any other provider. We do not need to recompile it. And this is a huge improvement which was taken with this release.
Right. And I think there's also one important additional note to mention, because now you can install Keptn without Istio. And instead of Istio for an ingress gateway, we now use an Nginx. and this also reduces the footprint of Keptn a little bit.
Here I especially know the details because I implemented this. So Istio was used for especially routing the traffic between the cannery and the primary version. And when you're only using the Keptn quality gates standalone, so you do not need this functionality. So we do not need Istio, and we can simply go with an Nginx and then a simple ingress provided by Kubernetes. And this, of course, another time slims down our footprint and makes it easier for customers to install Keptn.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, right now we don't have a tutorial for you so that you can play around with this new release, but we will provide a tutorial within the next couple of days. We are working on that throughout this week, and next week it should be available on the keptn.sh website. All right.
All right. Okay. This was a perfect overview. Now we should.
Hey, good morning, guys. I would have a question. Mm-hmm. Because looking at the docs, it says when I want to verify the Keptn installation, there is still Istio there. So is there an option where we can decide to install Istio, or is it so with the new release, will there be Istio by default or not by default? And in the docs, maybe it's still, because it's beta, maybe it's still not updated.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for pointing that out. By default, we install Keptn as it was in 0.5, and so that a user won't change his Keptn environment. But you can now run the install command by specifying the use case quality gates. Let me just quickly go to this page where you can see that here you have now the option to use or to install Keptn for a specific use case. And in this case, you can specify quality gates, and then you won't install Istio, and you get an Nginx instead. Does this clear the question?
Yes, I have just not found it in the docs earlier, but thanks for pointing this out.
But also the installation process will definitely be part of the tutorial.
Mm-hmm, of course.
We are preparing now. Mm-hmm. So people then exactly should know what they get. And thank you for this question.
Questions related to the new release? Okay, then we want to jump over to the first pull request for the Keptn spec. This pull request is actually it's not a change. It's more a pull request where we add missing information, because right now the explanation of the remediation strategy was missing in the specification, and this pull request adds this description to a shipyard specification.
So when we go into the changed files, what I really did is I added descriptions about the remediation strategy. So you can remember when Dynatrace receives a problem event, a problem open event, you can define some remediation actions. And if you choose remediation to be automated for your production stage, for example, then these remediation actions are executed. And this information was simply missing in the descriptions of the shipyard. So if the community thinks that we can accept this change, we will merge it. Good. Then let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. The second one was the pull request that proposes an extent of the shipyard, and the extent was about the approval strategy. And actually we discussed this pull request the last time, but as a homework, the community had to come up with with a way of specifying the approval strategy. And there was a good discussion going on this issue. And the final result we came up with is now shown right here. Yeah.
So our last proposal, or the initial proposal we made, had this disadvantage that we won't be able to distinguish between pass and warning. Now this new approval strategy allows you to make a distinction between passes and warnings. So you can choose an automatic approval strategy for pass and a manual approval strategy for warning. And this was not possible before. And now we split these two evaluation results, and now you have the complete possibilities. All combinations can be taken.
Right, and this gives the end user or the user who specifies the shipyard file the flexibility to combine a pass with automatic or manual, and as well to combine a warning evaluation result also with an automatic and manual approval step.
And also interesting is per default we are assuming an automatic approval strategy, and by this we are backwards compatible. So currently in the Keptn implementation we always approve in an automatic fashion for passes and warnings, and by this assumption or by this proposal we are compatible with the,
What about a quick question? What about the case when it's neither pass nor warning, but it's actually failed? Is there any option for the end user to get notified and still being able to push something out? So for instance, you have an emergency fix that you know you have to get out. Maybe the quality gates have an issue and therefore it comes back with a failure, but at least having the option to say, if it's failed, there's still a manual approval step possible in case you really have to.
So we decided not to take this into the shipyard file, but to have the possibility to push an artifact into the next stage if it's really needed. So this will be done via the bridge or the CLI, but this does not need to be specified in the shipyard file.
Okay.
And the initial implementation, of course, will support these two flags or these two properties, and then we can extend the CLI or the bridge. Okay?
Thanks, yeah.
Cool. Then?
Any other feedback on this change?
Then let's go to the third.
Then let's go to the third one. The third one is a proposal that wants to add a label to a start evaluation event, or actually to any Keptn event. And let's go there because there is an explanation why this one is needed. Well, the idea is pretty obvious, because let's assume you are running or you're using the Keptn quality gates feature within your CI/CD pipeline, and your CI/CD pipeline has, for example, a build number or pipeline number or execution number, and you want to add this information or you want to bring this information to Keptn, and then Keptn starts an evaluation, tags the evaluation result with the build number, and afterwards you have the option to query data from Keptn based on this build number, for example. And to implement this, the idea is to add labels to certain events.
And how this labels exactly should look like, maybe you can go to file changes. This is ongoing discussions. So here, for example, we defined an object, which is, of course, the most general, because an object can be anything. But it also makes it probably the most hardest to query afterwards. So we have here to find a trade-off between flexibility and also how we can easily query it afterwards. So this is ongoing discussions. We do not have any proposals yet, but please feel free to comment on this issue and also describe your use cases which you need. And then we will definitely find a consensus which we can discuss in the next community meeting again.
As we discussed this topic also in the team, in the Keptn core team, some thoughts came up that this information should be part of the cloud event header. Let me just show you what I mean with the header. As you know, each Keptn cloud event requires those elements which are the content type, the data block, the ID, the Keptn context, the source, the spec version, time, and type. And in the data block, we allow any provider to add data in there. And our first idea was to add an additional property right here. But as we took a look into the cloud event specification, then we figured out that it's actually not allowed to add an additional property or to add a property with this context information right here, and it should be part of the data block. This is now where we want to add those labels, but the format is in an ongoing discussion.
So the reason why we cannot add this in the header is because in the 1.0 release of the cloud events, they removed these kind of extensions, which we were using for the Keptn context. And also this as a Keptn context will probably move into the data block.
Yeah, but that's another topic.
That's another topic, but it's related.
So, this is Peter. Out of curiosity, can you overload those object labels? So instead of having different fields for each key value pair, just have one object field for label and then all the labels you want to assign in one string? Meaning, right? So you could apply, like, you say your object, but your value could be multiple labels as opposed to just instead of a list of individual labels and keys.
And you mean they are comma separated?
Yeah, I mean, comma separated would be fine as well. It just seems that if you create an object and then you create multiple labels in that object, like individual, key value pairs in that object, like you had listed here, like test ID, build, that you're I guess technically you're overloading it here, but I don't know. It just seemed, maybe it's just the form. Maybe I just read it in the way the format was. I think it's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were kind of already doing that. So I thought you were doing as separate objects, but that looks fine actually.
Okay.
I think that's what I was intending actually that you have there. Sorry.
Perfect. No, that's perfectly fine.
If you don't have any further comments or questions, we would like to thank you for participating and wish you a nice day. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks everyone. This looks great.
You.
Thank you.
Bye.